Hello, Fiona here, and today we've got a really fun lesson because we're going to be learning how to create some puzzle poems all about animals. So our aim is to create a puzzle poem using literary devices. So before we start looking at what we mean by literary devices, we're going to have a look at a poem. So this poem and your poem will be called Who Am I? So I'm going to read it through, and each line is going to give you some clues about a certain animal, and you just have to guess which animal my poem is about. Are you ready to give it a go? Good, good. Okay, here we go. As smelly as the rubbish bin when it's not been out for 2 weeks. A pink balloon floating in the mud. Squelch, squirt, grunt. Eyes smile with happiness, and my tongue dances with delight whenever food is near. Lying lazily on a lump of straw, basking in the sun. Now, having a think about all of those clues, what animal might my poem be talking about? So I've got there as smelly as the rubbish bin, a pink balloon floating in the mud, squelching, squirching, grunting. They obviously like food because their eyes are smiling with happiness and tongue dances with delight whenever food's near, and then they lazily lying on straw basking in the sun. Have you had a guess? It was a pig! Oh, hopefully you got it right. And we're now going to have a look then at some of the devices I used in that poem, and then you're going to have a go at writing your own puzzle as well. Let's have a look then at what literary devices were in that poem. As smelly as the rubbish bin when it's not been out for 2 weeks. So I'm comparing my pig and it's being as smelly as the rubbish bin. So I'm comparing two things. I'm using the word as. And I am therefore using a simile. And a simile is when we have a comparison of two things using the words as or like. So a couple of other examples. We might say something was as loud as a lion, or we might say something's as bright, or might say something's as bright as the sun, or you could say something is bright like the sun. So if I'm comparing things using the words as or like, it will be a simile. Okay. Oh, so you'll notice on these sentences though I didn't put full stops because I haven't just put as smelly as the rubbish bin. I've put a little bit more information on there. So you can see it says when it's not been out for 2 weeks. So I'm adding a little bit more information onto my sentence, and that means I'm using a subordinate clause. So that is also, if you want to push yourself, you don't have to, then you're going to try and have some extended sentences in this poem as well. So really seeing actually what can we do. The next line then, a pink balloon floating in the mud. Now we know I'm not really talking about a pink balloon. I'm comparing a pig to a pink balloon, but I'm comparing it directly, and that's me using a metaphor. And this is a direct comparison of two things. So I don't say something's like something or as something, it is something. So if I was looking at these examples again, it depends what you might be that you were thinking about your dad snoring. You could just say, my dad, a loud lion in the night. You don't need to say like or as. So again, you can just put a bright sun, doesn't need to be like a bright sun. And those are your metaphors. Okay, we're doing well. We're going on to the next one. Squelch, squirt, grunt. So these are examples of onomatopoeia. And that is a tricky word to say, but what does it mean? Well, this means that a word, when read aloud, sounds like its meaning. So squelch almost sounds like a squelch when you say it. Some other ones, bang. You can't really say the word bang without it sounding like a bang, or pop. So having to think when you write your animal poem today, actually, how could I put some of those sounds into that poem? Okay. So our next one. Eyes smile with happiness and my tongue dances with delight whenever food is near. So eyes don't really smile, do they? My mouth would smile, but what I'm doing there is giving it personification. So actually my eyes aren't really alive or anything, but I'm giving them a human quality. So personification is when we give an object human feelings or qualities. So we might put something, we could have shadows tiptoed closer. Shadows aren't really going to tiptoe, but we use this to make it sound interesting in our writing. The cup was happy to be full. Now, my cup hasn't really got any feelings, but I'm using personification just to make it a little bit more interesting, although this does look like a happy cup. Okay, and our last one then. So, lying lazily on a lump of straw, basking in the sun. Lying lazily on a lump of straw. So I've got a lot of the same sound, letter sound, and that's known as alliteration. So when we have repetition of the beginning sound in a group of words, so I've got a lot of L's there, I'm using alliteration. So sleeping silently on silky sheets would be another example, or jumping joyfully. There we go, there's somebody sleeping silently on silky sheets. So it's having that beginning sound the same on a group of words. So in my puzzle poem then, I started off using a simile. So that's comparing two things using the words as or like. I then used a metaphor, so I'm still comparing, but not with as or like. This is just saying something is something else. So our example was a pink balloon floating in the mud. Onomatopoeia, so that's the words that when you read them aloud, they sound like their meanings, that pop or bang. And then personification, so giving an object human feelings or qualities. So if we're doing it for an animal poem, the objects are likely to be parts of the animal. So it might be what are the ears doing, or what's the tail doing, or the eyes, or the mouth. So the objects are like the parts of the animal. And then alliteration, so that repetition of the same sound at the start of words. There was also the bonus on there as well, that actually rather than just saying loud as a lion, well, if my lion's asleep, it's probably not that loud. So actually I can extend it, so as loud as a lion when it's roaring or when it's fighting for its pride, whatever it may be. Seeing if we can put an extension on there. Okay, so that is going to be your task for today. So we're going to have a look and see, actually, can I have a go at getting these literary devices into my animal poem? And then what you're going to do as well, write the poem, make sure you don't mention the animal in it. It's all about giving your reader some clues, because then you're going to send me your poems and I'm going to try and guess that animal. It's up to you how you write them down. You can write them on a book, you can do it on the computer, on a bit of paper, you can draw some pictures if you want, but be careful not to give it away too much. Okay, well, enjoy your lesson and speak to you soon. Bye bye.